Thank you everyone for making the time to join this webinar. Just a quick overview on the housekeeping, Zoom keeping maybe we call it. Because there will be a little bit of live music in the middle, I will muting everyone. But don't worry, if you have question, please feel free to send it out to the chat box and then we will answer it either during the session or after the session. My name is Wike Gur. I am originally from Indonesia. I've been living in Australia for 20 years. But in the last 5, 6 years, I've been dividing my time between Indonesia, Australia, and the Netherlands. Due to COVID-19 situation, I've been stuck in Perth since February. I have a degree in marketing, so I have worked in the past in banking, in advertising, and in a weekly news magazine. 10 years ago, I started to do intercultural business coaching for multinational company in Australia and Indonesia. I'm also a songwriter. In the late 80s, together with my musician partner, we won National Grand Prix Award at the Indonesian Popular Song Festival. So it's like a Eurovision contest, but Indonesian version, for 5 consecutive years. So we represented Indonesia in many international song competition worldwide during those days. I have written probably more than 50 songs. Until now, people still listen to, play, or sing our song in Indonesia. I still write song occasionally, but now based on order, like pizza. You have to order. So today I am accompanied by 2 good friends of mine, two guest speaker who comes from a totally different background with totally different experience in leading people. So the first guest speaker is Okta Anis. He is a music producer. He has master's degree in fishery statistics. After he graduated, he found out that counting fish turns out not as exciting as counting money. So he took his MBA and started to work in banking. Music and art have always been his passion since his young age. So he plays music, he dances, he sings. So after 13 years working in the bank, he left his position as director of one of the biggest bank in Indonesia and set up an event management company in 2000. So until now, he has been organizing more than 100 MICE events. 50% of them are musical events. The second guest speaker is Hendro Fujiono. He is a mining engineer. His master's degree is in mineral economics and his PhD is in mining engineering, innovation, and industry behavior, both from Colorado School of Mines. So his interest in people and management led him to become a management consultant with expertise in transformation, change management, and innovation. He is also a global disc master trainer. His last project was safety culture change management at one of the biggest mining company in Indonesia that has more than 8,000 workers on the ground. Our first guest will share with us what does leading people in harmony means in entertainment industry or business. Let's welcome Okta Anis.
Okay, thank you, Vika. Hi all. This is one of my last project. It was held in October last year. It's a concert, one of Indonesian orchestra company celebrating their 15th anniversary. Magenta Orchestra wants to held an event which involved sportsmanship, artists from Indonesia and Southeast Asia, musicians, choir, other supporting team. The project itself was held not in a normal concert hall, but in a velodrome. It's an international velodrome in Jakarta. It's quite huge. The stage itself is like 90 meters by 40 meters. And then the event involves like 10 artists, more than 40 choirs, 40%, 80 musicians, and 100 production team who support on marketing, sales, sponsorships, and other things, and 300 workers. Why 300 workers? Because in Indonesia, that workers is not sophisticated workers. And then the tools that they use, it's not that sophisticated as well. The project involves 2% artists, singers, athletes from bicycle race, 80 musicians, a music director, supporting team, and then the workers. The background of the workers mostly are junior high school or even lower than junior high school to bachelor. On the other side, the creative team, most of them, the lowest is BA, like Bachelor of Art, and then some of them, like the music director, is a PhD. What is the fact that I faced on the field? First, the background is widely spread from junior high school to PhD. Their expectation is also differ. Some of them is just looking for like a steady income. For me as a promoter, I face a business risk. For them, they only got payment, play, that's all. For me, at the end of the day, it's a business decision. The promoter will face the business risk. What is the culture? Indonesia itself, we have a lot of tribes, but for me, it's not an issue. The most issue is how people works in my team. Most people, most of us works daytime from like 8 until 6 or 7 in the afternoon. But the workers here, they like to work after 12. They start working 12 and then finish 10 o'clock in the morning. So there are time difference and on how things were done on the field. Okay, social environment. On the creative people who involved in the art, most of them are very skillful and then very managerial. The workers, they only have small skill. Most of them work by learning. Me, as the conductor of this event, have to identify how the fact on the field could be put together and then meet my goal. Starting from the production people, talking with the arranger, working with the musician, until doing the concert itself. 2 or 3 years ago, we could help us to identify how people work and how people think and what is their position. Apply on one of my projects. And in fact, it really helps. It helps me to instantly put a map, what is their need and where are they stand in the project. For example, most of the musicians, they just want to play, they got income, that's all. For the artist, it's very high risk. You know why? Because they don't know me, and then they got just the down payment. They need to be on the stage, sing, and they're not sure whether the promoter will pay them or not. The promoter itself, me myself, take the very highest risk on the project because from the lower one until the artist, I need to make sure that all will meet my setup and my goal. After identifying all these things, is I analyze them. I try to make them not too widely spread. For example, like how I talk to the production and shift them to understand a bit about the problem of the managerial people, the problem of the sales and marketing people. And then the musicians, I need to raise them a little bit. They know how the arranger works because the arranger, after he writes the song, they need to play it properly, arranging all these things and then putting them in this one big project.
Thank you, Okta, for sharing. What Okta is facing is different people with different talent, with different background, culture, and education. So when I told Okta about Global Disc, he immediately understood that's exactly what he needs to make his job a lot easier for the success of the concert. The picture on the left is a stage preparation for Rolling Stone live concert in Adelaide, South Australia back in 2014. And the picture on the right is stage preparation for Jakarta anniversary last year. Both groups are building stage, but worker in Australia, they all wearing the protective gear, is certified. The one on the right, like Okta said, most of them, they are just self-taught or inherited the skill from their parents. Some of them just wear sandals because the safety culture is not ingrained. In Australia, safety culture is ingrained. Everybody wear protective gear. And in terms of giving instruction, because they are skilled in terms of education, they are certified and all that, you don't need to tell them. You just need to brief them once, give them the manual, and off they go and finish on schedule. With people on the right, sometimes you need to tell them 20 times check on them regularly to make sure everything finished on time. The sense of timing between them is different. So our topic today is leading people in harmony and what we can learn from music. In music, the definition of harmony is a pleasant sound made by different notes being played or sung at the same time. Without harmony, what you will hear is either one sound or just noise. Harmony is the basic element of music. So, how can we apply it in our lives or in business? If you never play piano or learn piano, the look of this grand piano can be overwhelming and confusing. Let's say you know what you want to play, for example, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but you don't know which key you should touch. If you know that the basic notes in music are only 12 notes and you know how each key sounds, you can easily play and choose which key you will play because the rest of the keys are just duplication. Same sounds, they are just higher notes or lower notes. I'm gonna pretend this is a company. Let's say we have three group of people. We call it group C. In music, we call it chord. This guy wants to produce Twinkle Twinkle Little Star as their product. Can you finish a song with just one group? Something not right there. So like in company, you cannot just have board of director. You will need people from finance, marketing, operation, production. So let's create call two group. So now we have three groups in the company. Each group has one member who is in the same category character. Like this yellow and the red, they have the same character. So that's why they got along well. The same thing with the C group and the blue group. They have one of their member get along with the blue group. They actually get along so well. They cover the whole white keys. So let's hear if we can finish Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with three groups. Okay. As the market grow and the technology advance, people usually, okay, let's hire more people, skilled people. But he is totally different. He's not at all on the white keys. He's the black key number 4. In music, we have two options to make the song sounds nice. The first option is to get everybody go on the black keys or make the green key incorporated in the white keys. You need the harmony skill to do that. If you just put this green guy just like that without the harmony skill, this is what you're going to hear. Okay, so it's not nice at all. Let's move everyone to the black key. The second option, when everybody stay, but only the green guy emerge inclusive, work together with the rest of the guys. In business or in real life, you can't force the green guy who is in the black key to change to be white. You cannot change the character. Their value, by the time we are 18 or 20, it's set already. So we cannot ask someone to change. What we can do is to work together with all our differences to create the synergy. That's where we need harmony skill. Who wants to try? Choose any black key. Why black key? Because the white key, everybody is already white. If you choose white key, it's like you are hiring the same person. It's not going to make any difference. It's just the sound is stronger. Then let's see if Twinkle Twinkle Little Star become a noise or even better. D sharp, black key number 2 from Nike. Okay. A sharp B flat from Marina. Black in 5. F sharp from Stephen Underwood. Last one, C sharp or D flat. Black key number 1. Our next guest, Hendro, will talk about how do you apply harmony in business world. Please welcome Hendro.
Thank you, Ibu
Okay.
Ika. Thank you, Okta.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we can play Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars in many different ways. I hope my son will not ask me to do the same in the morning. Couple of things I think that I think we can learn from that exercise is when we add different tones, the black notes. Yeah, it's like a common situation that we have every day in daily basis in the office. We have new members, we have new board of directors, we have new chairman, we have whoever that is. Uh, if you notice all the songs that Okta play, right? When we pick different new members, the other white notes play differently to create a harmony. So in change management, it is common that we say the organization needs to change, but when we ask who should change, everyone wants to see the change of status, but when we ask who should change, everyone will pointing to the other person, the management, you, they, them, other department, but no one really talk about they need to change as well. So I think that's the first lessons learned, and I think the main obstacle, the main barrier that I see in my career, right? Usually when we talk about change management, there are three things that people ask. The first one is where to start because it has been too complex. The second one is what does it mean in practice doing change? So this is not so what does it mean? So if I go back to work tomorrow, what does it mean? What should I do? And the third one is we've done everything, but we are stuck. What should I do? So usually those three are the main questions. So I think the one that I want to share with with all of us today is if you see the notes, right? The notes already know that I'm playing C, I'm playing D, I'm the black notes, I'm the C minor, the D minor, and so forth, right? In reality, when we work in the change management projects, most of the time we know where we want to go, but we rarely invest in knowing where we are now. So we all know the finish line somehow, to some degree, 50%, 60%. Some know the details, but I can say maybe 70% just put a blind eye and saying we don't really care about the starting point. So the from to, we always know the to, but the from is we never know. And that's one. To give you one example is when I started my career in a state-owned company in Australia. It's amazing every time I go to a change project, the first question that people ask, usually the first or the second question is, what's your training strategy? It's quite interesting, right? Because most of the time when doing change, capability may not be the most significant thing that we need to improve. So it's amazing on when we don't know the starting point, we already having a lot of effort and resources allocated to training, right? So no one really want to invest their time to understand where we are now. So from all these things, what I want to share is, let's go back, take one step back, and let's see where we are now. And just looking at this picture in this slide, it's more like people have different characters, right? Different backgrounds, and the most the quickest way, but not the cheapest one, for us to change in the business is to change everyone in the business, from CEO to the lowest level. Because at the end of the day, change the people or change the people, right? But we cannot afford to do it, right? So the pressure for the business now is, can you do differently with the same people? And if we keep trying to avoid the conversation that, oh, we all the same, or people act, communicate, behave differently, or even have different capability within the same level, then I can guarantee, like what Kotter said, or a lot of consulting firms said from the 90s until now, that 70% of change in the business always fail. So I will give you the illustration how we can get how can we know the starting point in any change project that you have in the business. You can see this is like a typical delivery model in any change program. Is there's a program manager or program leadership. There's like the change team, transformation team, whatever the buzzword that we use. And there's also people that needs to execute on the ground, right? From Okta example, Okta is the program manager, the promoter. The transformation team is the production team. The delivery crew is the one who set up all the stages, preparing all the details, right? So you can see, this is coming from our latest projects in Indonesia. You can see even in the way they communicate, it's totally different. Probably for program manager, it's all about numbers, right? Communicate through objective lenses, right? Facts. X% of this incident because of Y%, Z%. That's why we need to do blah, blah, blah. But you can see the crew on the ground is more like subjective. They need a story. And this is basically what happened when myself and Wike was on the ground and doing a workshop, Voice of Customer. Everyone in the leadership was shocked when we said, look, this is the Voice of Customer, that your program feels like redundant, feels like another project that to give a burden for people on the field. Well, actually, when we look at the project brief, it's totally different. It's not redundant. Then we found out, right, when we design a project, right, a communication roll out to the whole people in the business, we tend to include the people that look like us or think like us. We forget to include people that have a different spectrum. Even we forget like who will be the audience that know to execute. So by using what Okta said, the software and the approach, cultural intelligence, we manage to map this early and do the intervention. And sometimes the solution can be quite easy. Change your habit. If in the past you only have meeting with these 3 people to design your implementation rollout, now include 4 or 5 people that have different way of doing things than you, so you can get a better perspective. Something like that. So that's how we make it practical in our daily basis in the business.
Basically, you can have these people everywhere on the scale. So that's where Global Disc can help us to pinpoint where they are. Sometimes we don't know where we are. Sometimes they don't know where we are. So if we want to move or to change towards certain direction without knowing where we are, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for everyone. So if we compare to music, these people is just like anywhere in the keyboard. We have to know in which key they sit, so we can create the harmony. If we know which character there, which sound that create, if we know the harmony skill, if we have the cultural intelligence as a coach or as a leader, we can determine whether we want to coach them as an individual, make a duo, or if you were to manage them as a small band or even an orchestra. So it doesn't matter. With the cultural intelligence skill, with the harmony skill, we can put them together. As a conclusion, the role of leaders or coach is to be able to conduct everyone or direct everyone according to their needs.